My husband's ex-wife is sick, and my mother-in-law insisted that she move in with us, but I suspect that she's faking it. My husband's ex-wife wants to move in with us, and my husband is okay with this. I'm so peed off right now that I think I'm going to explode. After everything that my husband and I have gone through, he wants to let the person who ruined our lives so many times back into our house. We're supposed to be finally getting some peace and starting a life together as a newlywed couple, but there has been a dampener in our plans and now we're back to square one. My husband and I have been married for over a year, but when we got married, his ex-wife had just given birth. They divorced when she was a couple of months pregnant after having problems for many years. Andre and I knew each other many years ago and dated. She was his best friend and worked very hard to sabotage our relationship, and in the end, it worked. He broke up with me after she caused some misunderstandings between us, making me believe that he was cheating. We went without contact for about 6 years, and in those years he dated her and got married to her. The marriage was horrible. He was deeply unhappy. We bumped into each other again once they'd separated, and it was clear that the feelings were still there. We became friends and eventually had a conversation about why we broke up, which was when we realized that she had actually lied. They did not start dating until about 3 months after we broke up. Either way, I knew he was a married man and I did not want to start something with a married man, even though I really liked him and his marriage was basically done. I have too many friends who have dated married men, wasting years of their lives thinking that the man would leave their wife for them. Most of the time, they do not. I had already been heartbroken once because of her and was not about to go through that again. It's worth noting that she knew that I was back in town. I'd seen her many times and she ignored me, but then she thought that I was having an affair with her husband and publicly shouted at me and called me names. That was the last straw. That night, he came to me and told me that he loved me and did not want to be with her anymore. I let him sleep on my couch while I thought about whether he was being genuine or not. The next morning, he filed for divorce. She was not pleased and did everything to beg him, but he was set on being with me. He moved in with his brother and left her at their house. During their divorce, she revealed that she was pregnant and then tried to emotionally manipulate him so that he would stay with her. He offered support but told her that he didn't want her. After the divorce was finalized, she did everything she could to interrupt our relationship. It was like she could sense when we were being together and she would call him for the smallest things. Being the gentleman that he would come running every single time. She knew that she had him right where she wanted him. She wanted me to break and to leave so that she could use the baby to snare him back into her web again, but it didn't work. I started to help him take care of her. He said that when he saw how selfless I was, he knew that he had to marry me, so then he did just that. The baby came about 2 weeks before our wedding. We still got married but postponed our honeymoon. We've not gotten the chance to go on honeymoon, but as soon as we get the chance, we're taking it. We planned to go for our anniversary, but once again, she ruined everything. This time, she's sick. While I cannot blame her for the diagnosis that she got, I think that she's milking it a tad bit too much. A couple of days ago, she told us that she'd been diagnosed with diabetes. She had a late diagnosis, so she was still very sick and had to spend some days in the hospital while her blood sugar was regulated. Tristan, her son, stayed with my mother-in-law and occasionally came to my house when she was in the hospital. My mother-in-law then told us that she was being discharged, but that there was a small problem. She was still very weak and would need a lot of care. Her son was also too young, so she was going to have a bit of a hard time. She said that she felt sorry for her and wanted to help in any way that she could, so she had a request for me. I said that it was okay if she wanted us to stay with Tristan while she recovered, but my mother-in-law said that Tristan was still too young and that he was attached to his mother, so she had another solution to this. I was open to any solution, so I listened while she told me this nonsense. She said that she wanted Pauline to move in with me and my husband until she got better. She was also not going to be working for a while, so she needed support. When she said that, I thought that she had to be out of her mind. Already, she's in my life and causes trouble when she can. Now imagine inviting her into my house. Words cannot describe how I feel about her. She's horrible to be around and she hates me. She still has feelings for my husband, I know it. I told my mother-in-law that hell would freeze over before I let Pauline move in with us. She told me that I was being very selfish. Pauline was a mother and that she was going through something that I could not even imagine. "Where is your empathy? Stop being selfish and actually help out," she screamed at me. I hung up on her because I didn't have the energy to deal with her emotional blackmail. As usual, she went to report me to her son, as if she thought he could do anything about it. That house belongs to the two of us, and I have every right to refuse to stay with her. My husband said that it wasn't a bad idea. He begged me to reconsider and allow her to stay with us. It appeared that he had forgotten who she was and what she'd done to us in the past. I reminded him of all the drama that she'd caused in our lives, but he said that she was his wife for 5 years and of course he still cares. It was like the wind had been knocked out of me. How could he still care when she is a rubbish person and manipulative? I cannot bring her into my marriage. I don't trust her. For a person who is miserable in that relationship, he sure does care a lot about her. He cares enough to raise his voice at me, it appears. He has never raised his voice at me in the past. When we argue, we like to keep a clear head and talk like mature adults. He told me that I was being selfish and that I did not care about Tristan. This is why I was being like that. He's mad. This has nothing to do with Tristan. I adore the little guy, and I understand that he's part of my life, but I do want peace in my house, and she does not bring peace. She brings violence. My husband and I have been planning a lot over the past few months. We want to renovate and go on vacation and consider having children in a couple of years. Now, how are we supposed to do that when she's here? I hate her, and I do not trust her. My sanity is slowly slipping away. I'm also alarmed at the rate at which I've been smoking today. The entire pack is gone, and I think I'm going to start another one. I don't know what I must do. Do you think I should move out for a while she stays here and then move back in when she's back? I still can't believe that my husband is being so selfish. Update: she moved in. So, I decided to relent and let her move in, but just for a short while. Until her health is better, she has to leave. I told Andre that the maximum I will allow is 1 month and then she has to go. She's been staying with us for a month and a half now. I know that she's fine. She doesn't have any more complications, but she's still staying here. I so want to kick her out, but I will just be accused of being dramatic. The only release I get is when I visit my mum, so I can vent on Sundays. My mother helps me to calm down, and she reminds me to be nice to her even though she is not nice to me. She's disrespectful and treats me like a maid. She can't do basic things like cleaning up after herself, and I must do it. If I don't, then she complains to my husband, who then gets mad at me, and I feel bad. I don't want him to see me as a bad person, and there is Tristan involved, so I bite my tongue. I've been counting down the days until the end of the month so that she can leave. The time came and went, and I did not see her packing. She just got worse, and complained about feeling weak. I was at work, and my husband was at home. Imagine how triggered I was when I came back and saw him taking care of her. He was feeding her soup while she was in bed when I walked in. I bought her some food since she had to eat food that was healthy for her and free of sugar. I tried in all the little ways that I could to make her feel comfortable. I can't be mean to sick people. I feel like a jerk when I'm mean to people who are sick. But seeing that reminded me that they used to be happily married. I felt a stab of jealousy and anger in my heart, but I let it go. If I started acting up, then my husband was going to just get pushed into her arms. She stayed for 2 weeks, and she does not show that she is about to leave. She claims that it will be difficult for her because the hospital is very far from her house, and she does not feel that she's ready to drive. Of course, I called BS on that. She has diabetes, but no eye problems or problems with her motor functions. This house is hell, and I hope that one day she'll leave. Update: she is still here. There are many excuses, and my husband feels guilty about her condition. He thinks that being a single mum stressed her, and he didn't do enough to support her. She's getting better, but she's still very annoying. But what she did today takes the cake. I think I want to leave and get some air. This house has slowly become toxic, and she's tried to ruin my marriage. I don't have proof, but what she did today is proof of that. I will not take this lying down. She doesn't know me. I'm tired of her games. She messed with the wrong person. Unknown to me, she's been telling my husband that I'm cheating because I'm showing all the signs of cheating. Spoiler, I was not cheating. I was planning my anniversary, and now she's ruined the surprise. I've been planning my anniversary with the help of a party planner for months. I want something very elegant and beautiful that will make us feel special. I'm very obsessed with paying attention to detail, so we've been talking every day. Since it was a surprise, my husband was not supposed to find out about it, so I only talked to the planner, whose name is Franco, when my husband was not there and while he was asleep. Pauline clearly had too much time on her hands, and she decided to use that time to stalk me and report my activities to my husband. My car has a tracker, and so does my husband's. It's always important to know where the other one is. We don't use the app that often, only when we think that the other one is running late or we can't get a hold of each other. Well, she told my husband that I was meeting up with my boyfriend and told him where to go. She said she had a source who saw me and Franco at a cafe and suspected that we were being too friendly. Franco has worked with me for years, and while we do have a casual relationship, we try to maintain professionalism at all times. My husband showed up in the middle of the meeting and accused me of cheating. I tried to explain, but he said that he'd seen me sneaking off and hiding texts. I denied it, but she spurred him on. To add insult to injury, my mother-in-law showed up. She told me that she knew I was like this, and at least now her son knew the truth. I could not be trusted. I was peed off, and I told her to stay out of our business. My husband told me to shut up and told me that I needed to leave his house before the end of the day. Pauline did not even try to hide the smile on her face when he told me to get out. She looked so satisfied with herself, and I just wanted to slap that look off her face. I told him to calm down. Franco was my planner because I was planning our anniversary. I showed my husband the files that were on the table, which detailed how I was planning the anniversary with Franco. Immediately, he turned pale and started to apologize. I was angry that he would even suspect this, believing the words of a well-known liar. I left them all standing there, got in my car and drove off. I turned off the tracking app and just kept driving. Then the tears started falling. I had been so scared in that situation and so humiliated as well. How was I ever going to face Franco again after my husband accused him of such a disgusting thing? We're so far along that I can't afford to have someone else plan the anniversary. I slept in a motel and ignored all of my husband's calls and texts. In the morning, I told him we needed to talk about his ex-wife. He agreed and we met up for coffee. What a waste of my time. He said that she was sorry and was really concerned. He denied that she purposefully did that to ruin our marriage. He then told me that she had also moved on but was uncomfortable with how I always saw her as a bad person. I thought that was all nonsense and that she was trying to drive a wedge between us. I also told him that she had stayed too long and needed to leave. He agreed and told me that she was also going to apologize to me. I got an apology text later in the afternoon and I thought that the issue was sorted, but when we got home, she was panicking. She said that Tristan was not waking up and that his body was very heated, so she and my husband drove to the hospital and they are still there. I know what he's going to say when he comes back. He doesn't want her to move out. I've seen how he loves spending time with his son, and since her staying here is a way for him to spend more time with his son, he will not let her go that easily. But well, I've tried. All that drama was for nothing. I was humiliated and accused of cheating, and all I got was a bland apology text. My mother-in-law has been acting like nothing is happening and that my marriage is not under strain because of her. She supports Pauline all the time and does not care about me. I feel like she wants her son to get back with Pauline. Of course, people tell me that I'm just worried about nothing when I tell them, but I have a feeling that she wants that. I don't care about what she or Pauline want though. They will not succeed. My husband and I will come out stronger in this. I have a very good feeling about it. Update. Yesterday was the anniversary. Yesterday, my husband and I had an anniversary dinner with some of our family and close friends. In a couple of days, we are leaving for a week-long holiday on an island. Both of us already had our leave days approved. This is going to be our official honeymoon since we did not get one. Our extended family is large and we have quite a few friends, so what I had planned to be a dinner quickly turned into a small party. I should have been happy. After all, everything turned out well. My planner had not abandoned me after my husband caused all that drama, but my day was not going as well as I wanted it to, and the fault belonged to my mother-in-law and Pauline. But because they were guests, I could not say anything. I never got a moment to sit down because if there was any minor inconvenience, I was called. Never mind the fact that I hired people to work at the party, but every time something happened, it always appeared that the servers were busy. Instead of doing things on her own and not bothering me every chance they could get, they called me all the time. It was getting very annoying, and all I wanted was for everyone to leave so that I could rest. I did not show my exhaustion to my husband. I knew it would end in a fight, and I did not want us to fight because of those two. That was when I began to suspect that they were actually in cahoots to try and ruin my anniversary. This was, after all, the first anniversary of the woman who ruined her marriage, as she likes to call it. Everyone knows that the marriage was already over by the time I came round. If she wanted something more accurate, she would remember that she broke us up the first time with her lies. I played music in my head every time she talked to me and pretended to care when in reality I did not. They were draining and I needed to take a break. It was then that I noticed my dress was stained and we had not even taken pictures yet. My mother-in-law pointed it out and said that it was like I was at a kid's birthday party and that Tristan looked even neater than me. Pauline joined her in laughing. That was the last straw. I was out of this. So I disappeared for over an hour. I went to sit at the back of the house. We had a swing set there. It was there when we got the house. I sat there for a while and tried to calm myself down and tell myself that this was not the end of the world, even if my wedding anniversary was not going the way I wanted it to. I told myself that my mother did not raise a quitter, got up and went back to the anniversary. Then I went upstairs to put on my backup dress. It was not as pretty as the one I was wearing, but it would do. As I was exiting the room, I saw something a bit strange. She did not see me because I was rounding the corner, but it was Pauline, and she was eating the cake, the one with sugar. I had gotten a sugar-free cake for everyone who did not eat sugar, but that cake that she was eating was the chocolate cake I bought, which was loaded with calories. I thought fast and snapped a picture of her. She looked around, polished off the cake, and went back into the party. I followed shortly after. I heard some commotion outside and went to check, only to find the kids playing. But then something caught my eye. They were playing with a plastic bag. I took the bag and was shocked to find Pauline's medication. I asked them who put it in there, and they said that they saw her throw it in there. I opened the bag and started checking everything. She had tons of bottles of insulin, and she also had different injections, all of which were not open. I checked the dates on some of her prescriptions, and it showed me that this was medication for several months. This meant one thing: she was not taking her medication. How did she expect to get better if she did not take her medication and ate cake? I needed to tell my husband so that he would know she was not a responsible mum and was not interested in recovery. I knew that she was something else, but this was top-level stupidity right here. I was not about to make a scene and let her ruin my anniversary even more. I stored the medications in a safe location and then went back to the party. About an hour later, the party ended. The cleaners were about to come tomorrow, so there was nothing much to do but sleep. My mother-in-law said that she was going to leave and be back the next day, but I asked her to stay, saying that it was too late for her to be travelling and we had enough beds. She agreed wholeheartedly to sleep over, falling for my trap. The next morning at breakfast, where everyone was present, I asked Pauline if she had enjoyed the cake. She said yes. It might have been sugar-free, but it was tasty. I said, not that one, the one that I told her she could not eat, the chocolate cake. She laughed and said she did not eat the chocolate cake. My husband told me to let it go, so I showed him the photo. "What is this, Pauline?" he asked. She looked down. "I'm sorry, it was a cheat meal." She tried to look innocent. I rolled my eyes. She was quick to think on her feet, but there was no way that she was going to be able to explain this one. I showed them the medications and explained that she never once took them and that she had been throwing them away. She was speechless, opening and closing her mouth like a goldfish. She tried to say something so many times, anything to explain that she'd been irresponsible and was not taking her medications. But then she pointed at his mum. "She told me to fake the condition so that I could get back together with you." I will let you know what's happening in a bit. I'm being called in for a meeting at work. Update. I just had an opportunity to upload and then go back to the meeting, but I'm back now. Let me tell you what happened next. My husband got up and toppled the chair he was standing on. He was silent for a moment, and then he started calling her crazy. He said he could not believe that she took advantage of his hospitality. "We are never getting back together. You are terrible for my mental health. I have a wife that I love very much, but you do not respect that," he added. She just looked down. For once, she was dumb and had nothing to say. My mother-in-law tried to calm her son down and tell him that there was a misunderstanding, but he simply ignored her. "I suspected it, my love, especially when she tried to make me look like I was cheating." I added fuel to the fire because why not? The witch was on the hot stove today, and I was going to make sure that she did not wiggle out of this one. She said that she loved him and missed him, and that is why she did it. I told her that she was just trying to seem innocent. I then asked what role my mother-in-law played in this, and she gave me the answer. My mother-in-law did not like me. She preferred Pauline because they had a stronger bond. She felt that I stole him from Pauline and did not want Pauline to be sad anymore, so they faked her diabetes and brought her back into the house so that she could have me kicked out and replace me. Clearly that did not work because they were now exposed. "She's lying. She acted on her own." My mother-in-law tried to save her skin. It was very funny to watch them turn on each other now that the truth was out. "I have the text to prove it," she said as she scrolled through her phone. We read through the text, which confirmed that she was right. I told them that when we got back from work, they better not be in our house. They tried to beg us, but my husband told them that they heard us. When we got home, they will be nowhere to be found. Then, tomorrow is our last day of work before we go on vacation for a week. Update 2 months later. Sorry I've been a stranger. Some things have been happening lately and it's all just been a bit crazy. We had a wonderful week away where our love was once again rekindled. With all the misunderstandings sorted out, we had a clear vision again. One thing we agreed upon was that Pauline was not a fit mother and was a danger to Tristan. We also agreed that within a year or two we would have another child to keep Tristan company. We came back from the honeymoon all smiles. His mum and ex left us many messages, each one ratting the other one out. We ignored them and instead consulted a lawyer about getting custody of Tristan. When she found out that we wanted to take her child away from her, she lost it and broke a window in our house. Cameras across the street caught it, and we used it as evidence that she was not emotionally stable. There was also an investigation into how she managed to fake diabetes. I was not really involved in that as long as she was caught, but I do know that she and my mother-in-law got community service and a fine. They were lucky that they did not get jail time because the crime they committed is a very serious one. But Pauline's luck ran out, for she lost custody of her child. If she ever wants to see him, then she has to see him with my husband's permission. Andre is not her biggest fan right now and will not even entertain the idea of her seeing Tristan. He has also banned his mum from our house and refuses to talk to her. She's tried to explain, but it's clear that she's lying. Maybe if she told the truth, it would set her free, and then he would be more inclined to forgive her. Living with Tristan has been wonderful. I feel like a real mum, and our bond is growing stronger. He loves playing games with his father, and he likes the food that I make. He's been teething lately, so he's not been feeling that well, but the doctor gave us some stuff to use on him. Being a mum is fulfilling, and Pauline took that for granted. Now she has no Andre and no Tristan. I hope that this is a lesson to her that lying and scheming will get her nowhere. I'm so relieved that she's finally out of our lives after using us for months. She just does not know how to stop or how to respect people's boundaries. I still cannot wrap my head around what she did and how she managed to fool us so easily. Well, that will never happen again, and at least now my husband is aware of just how dangerous she is. What's next for us? I have no idea, but I know it does not include a crazy baby mama. Wow, what a story. What do you think about it? OP went through a lot during those months. Was Andre right to try and be friends with his ex-wife so that he could spend time with Tristan, or should he have cut her off long ago? And what about OP? Will she ever forgive Pauline? And her mother-in-law too? I do feel sorry for the mother-in-law not being able to see her grandson, but in some ways you could say she deserves what she got. Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching and see you next time.